Welcome to episode 21 of the Woolly Mammoth Fibre Company podcast. I said in the last episode that I hoped to have a little small episode out before the shop update, so here I am, I made it. I got a couple of cool things to show you today. I just wanted to come on here and show you, first of all, the Irish Seas mini skein set, which I didn't have last week because it was still drying, but I'll just quickly show this to you. So inspired by the Irish Seas blues and greens, and these are all 20 gram minis on my natural sock 4-ply. So these will be in the shop tomorrow night. And the other work in progress, well, that's not a work in progress, that's just something I wanted to show you that I didn't manage to show you last time, is since last week I started an embroidery, a cross stitch, which I have not done since maybe I was in primary school. I think I remember doing one. And I just seen it on one of my friends' Instagram feeds and thought, oh, I'm just gonna give it a go. So I started it last weekend and I'm finished already, and it's only Thursday. It was very addictive. So it says, go away, I'm reading. This burgundy wasn't the original colour, but the original colour specified, I couldn't find it, so I just picked this one. And yeah, so it's a bookmark and I need to finish it off. Check out the back, what a mess. It's probably not supposed to look like that at the back, but I don't mind. It's my first one and I'm really proud of it. I made quite a few mistakes, I'm sure you can see them, but I don't mind too much about that either. So I'm going to probably make this into a bookmark at the weekend. I'll probably use interfacing to fuse the back, and then I'll fray the top and the bottom a little bit. That's the idea anyway. The pattern for this is by Little Plastic Covers, and I think I got the embroidery floss from some random place online in the UK. So yeah, super pleased with how this turned out. And I have another one that I'm going to do as well, but I'm not going to start it for a while because I have a few other projects that I would like to indulge in first. I think a few pairs of socks are in order. Talking about socks, this is I'm in the middle of my second Rita sock. Well, not exactly the middle, but I've started on my second Rita sock. So I'm going to focus on these next, and then I have a sweater project, my scale grass sweater to finish, which I will work on after I finish the socks. And then I am going to cast on a pair of socks, I think in the Irish Seas mini skein set, I think. So that is the plan anyway. So I asked a few people if they had any questions for me. I said this could be like an Ask Me Anything episode, and I do have quite a number of questions here, so that's quite fun. So I'm just gonna start. Sorry, this is a very quick fire like episode and just trying to kind of get through it all so it doesn't take too long to upload. So Ask Me Anything. What do you love most about your work? I love the freedom of deciding when I work. I love being able to play with different colours, and the creative aspect of it is probably my favourite part. And yep, I think that's it really, short and sweet answer. Favourite wool. Ooh, it's very hard because many different wools have many different qualities that are good for different things. The scale grass sweater that I keep showing and that I keep not finishing is knit in my limited edition Jacob's yarn, which I absolutely loved. And it was local to me yarn. It was grown in Ballymena, which is a few miles down the road. And I was very proud of that one, and it was absolutely stunning to knit with. So in general, I like woolen spun probably best. I think it has a wee bit more character and a wee bit more personality. So yeah. Next question, how long does it take to go from a bare skein undyed to a finished product? Great question. So I can dye, well, it depends. I can dye say 15 at a time, but before you start dyeing you have to soak, and then you have to mordant, which takes, you soak overnight, so it's kind of like a passive thing. And then you mordant, so that takes about an hour and a half ish, between getting the pans up to temperature and then in the mordant pan, and then cool down probably actually takes more than an hour and a half. Then the dyeing process, if you have to extract from stuff you've picked, it takes, depends how long, up to an hour. And then you clean up the water, and then as in you take the random dye stuff that's floating in the water out of the water so it doesn't go in the wool. And then you put your rinse skeins into the dye bath for approximately an hour or longer overnight if you want to leave it. Some dyes like being left overnight. And then you have to cool down and then rinse, and then you have to spin dry, and then you have to hang up. Then you have to label, and then you have to photograph, edit and list. So how long does that take? It's really hard to say. Quite some time, especially with natural dyes. It's even slower really than with acid dyes, I would say. Although I'm not an expert on acid dyes, but so if you're talking just the dyeing, it probably takes, the dyeing and mordant together probably takes like 3 to 4 hours approximately. But I can do like between 15 and 25 at a time. So you probably need to divide 4 hours by 20 or something like that. Yeah, I can't work it out exactly, but by the time you add all the other processes on, I think it takes longer than that. So next question, what are your thoughts on working from home? My thoughts are, it's great, I love it. I've done it for many years now. I can't really say much more about it than that, really. I've never spent a long time in like corporate jobs or like anything like that, so I don't really know what it's like in a way not to work from home. Well, I do know, but like, anyway, I'll leave the rest to another question later on because it kind of links in. Have you ever had any knitting or dyeing disasters? I'm always having knitting disasters. Dyeing disasters, not so much. It's funny, the skeins that come out, like the colours, I don't like them. People always seem to like them, which is kind of hilarious. Because in my opinion, like maybe I don't like the colours, but someone else likes the colours. I've never had anything like burn and like stick to the pan or anything. The odd time you get a base that likes to felt, and you have to watch that, but nothing too crazy. No, nothing too crazy. No mad disasters. Knitting heroes. Do you have any knitting heroes? Not really. Probably my biggest knitting hero is my friend Kim. She has a yarn shop in Bristol called Alternate Universe, and she was my first knitting friend, I guess, and she taught me how to knit. So she's kind of my knitting hero. Do you ever tangle skeins? Not too much, just a very odd time. More likely to happen with me when dyeing. However, when it's dyed, you can fix it, so I don't really get skeins tangled up when I'm winding them up into cakes or anything, so not really. I mean, you get the odd skein that's a bit randomly hanged up, but apart from that, no, nothing really crazy. Is there something you didn't anticipate before starting a wool business? well, I didn't really ever anticipate starting a wool business to start with. So, but I think that answers not what the what the questioner was asking, really. I think, honestly, I didn't really anticipate people buying stuff. That shocked me big time. But it was a nice surprise. Anything else I didn't anticipate? I don't think I realised the scope of the knitting world at that point either, and how vast and how big and how into it people were. Like, I don't think I even realised that. So that was really, really interesting to dive a little bit deeper into all of that stuff. So what would you do if you weren't a dyer, and what were your childhood dreams? What did you say you wanted to become when you were a child? So this kind of ties into my question about thoughts on working from home. So we'll start with childhood ambitions. I'll start at the start. My childhood ambitions were, I think I wanted to be an archaeologist for a while. I think every child wants to be that for a while. Digging in the dirt, and finding surprises. That sounds weird, but my other childhood ambition was to be a hairdresser. And interestingly, I did go on to study hairdressing, and I worked in a hairdresser's for 4 years, which I loved. It was the best crack ever. Sadly, that hairdresser's is closed. It's been closed now for quite a few years. So I worked in the hairdressers when I was at school, and then I worked in it when I was at tech, or well, we call it tech here, college. And I really, really enjoyed that. And while I was at tech doing my art foundation course, at night I was doing the hairdressing qualification 2 nights a week. And at that point I had been working in the hairdressers for like 3 years, I think. So that was quite a busy year, but it was really good fun. And I absolutely loved working in the hairdressers and learning all the skills. It was a really creatively satisfying job as well. So that was my first like proper job. I was going around a town that was close by. My mum told me I had to get a job, so I walked around the whole town and went into like all of the cafes and like put my name down and asked them if they had any jobs, and they were like no. And then I was walking past this fancy hairdressers, and I was like, oh, that'd be really fun. Maybe I'll just go in and ask, but there's not a chance I'll ever get a job. So I went in, put my name down, and then had a phone call from them a few days later, I think, asking could I come in for an interview. So I went in for the interview and I got the job, and I couldn't really believe it. I think I was 16, maybe 15, 16. Probably not supposed to be working when you're that young, but I wanted to. So and yeah, I was so pleased I got the job. I couldn't believe it, and I really enjoyed it. It was good fun, and I learned how to colour hair, cut hair, blow dry hair, wash hair, clean up hair, talk about products. Yeah, that was one thing I really enjoyed doing as well, talking about all the different products and trying them out. And before we started, on a Saturday, I was the Saturday girl, you see. So I was working every Saturday. We'd come in early and we would all do each other's hair and like get our hair looking nice before the salon would open. So I loved that. It was so fun. So yes, one of my childhood ambitions kind of came true in a way. So yeah, I don't really keep up any of the skills anymore. Apart from I cut my husband's hair, and occasionally, very, very occasionally, a random other person's hair who is desperate for a haircut, and he just gets like a short back and sides. I just use the clippers for the the sides and back, and then scissor cut the top. And that's it really, nothing very difficult. I wouldn't feel confident colouring someone's hair now. But like when I go to the hairdressers now, I know exactly what I want to ask for, which is great. And I have a really good hairdresser now, so yeah. So after the hairdressers, I left the hairdressers when I went to uni, and I had a job in the summer at uni. I didn't have one when I was studying. I studied photography at Camberwell College of Arts in London. I didn't have a job during term time, but in the holidays I had a few jobs. So I worked in a hotel as a waitress, which I absolutely hated. It was awful. I think I didn't really mind the waitressing work, but I didn't really like anyone I worked with, and they weren't very nice, so I did not enjoy that. I worked for the council in a centre in Portrush called the Dunluce Centre. You won't know it. I don't even know if it's still there. It might be knocked down. And basically I was in control of the soft play area for the children. So that was a really boring summer. So I was working in the Dunluce Centre, trying to keep these children from going crazy during the day, and then at night I was working in the hotel, which was awful. What an awful summer. So yeah, and that summer I finally caught the chicken pox. Nightmare off one of the children. So I wasn't in the Dunluce Centre very long until I had to go home sick. I was off for 2 weeks with a doctor's line. And a weird thing was, like, when I got the chicken pox, I didn't realise it was a chicken pox because maybe this is too much information, but I was sick. And then the people told me to go home, and then I started itching like the next day. So after I worked that summer, I think the next summer I didn't get a job, and I went cycling for like a month with my friend. And then I got a job after I left uni. Yeah, I think for 2 summers then. After that I didn't get jobs and I went cycling. And then when I came home from uni, I got a job in a school as the art technician, HE technician, staff, lunchtime supervisor, staff room cleaner, and did I miss anything? I don't know, but so that was kind of an interesting year because I thought maybe I'd like to go into teaching art, but the whole experience wasn't great because I was supposed to be working with the art teacher exclusively when I applied for the job, and after I applied and I got the job, the teacher went off maternity leave and I got this other teacher who basically didn't need me, so I had to go and do all this random stuff around the school. And I think I realised there was a lot of red tape when you work in a school, a lot of bureaucracy, and I wasn't into that. I had applied for a PGCE as well, so I was quite close. Like, I had an interview and then I just decided I didn't want to do that. So I left the school and then I started my photography business, which is what I studied, and it was quite good, but I didn't really get enough work to keep me going, so I got a job in a cafe, and I knew some of the people that worked there already, so it was really nice, and that was great crack. Absolutely loved it. So I was doing everything from washing dishes to making sandwiches to making coffees, doing the till, decorating cakes, cleaning, everything. So I finished that job in February 2018. I started Woolly Mammoth Fibre Company in October 2017. And I just decided to give it a go. So yeah, I was kind of doing photography, cafe, and then I kind of moved into doing the Woolly Mammoth Fibre Company. So yeah, the photography was good. I was photographing mainly architecture. My husband's an architect, so that's kind of how I got into that, and I still do that now. just if there's an interesting job that I like, that I would like to photograph, or a magazine that I'd like to work with, I usually say yes to those jobs. So maybe that's like one job a month or something, and then all the other days I'm doing Woolly Mama Fibre Company. So that's a brief history of my life. Sorry. Right, next question. Oh, I didn't even answer the question. What would you do if you weren't a dyer now? Well, I'd either go back into hairdressing, or I would have some sheep, or I would maybe do something with animals, maybe do something with sighthounds. I don't know what exactly. Maybe have a sighthound sanctuary, although I don't think that would pay the bills. Probably some other type of craft, I'm not sure what. I was in Hobbies last year, and I met a basket maker called Phil Bradley in the Lake District, and I really admired his craft and his skills, so I might do something like that. Basket making. Tell me about your garden when you moved into your house. So we moved in here like 4 years ago. We could see there was a garden, but it was under such a heavy layer of leaves that we couldn't see that there was a path. We couldn't see that there was any flower beds. The grass was as high as me. So we had no clue what was there. So basically we spent a long time getting the garden to a point where you could walk down the path and mow the lawn. Like, that took a long time. Now we're at the point where we're kind of decorating it and making it nice and embellishing it, so to speak. So yeah, and I'm enjoying it more and more every year, the more we kind of have more space for doing stuff in the garden. Dye plants, what dye plants do you use from the garden? I haven't got an official dye plant area, but I have planted some hollyhocks this year, which I hope to dye from. I have 2 elderberry trees. I have a damson, a tree with damsons on it. I have, what else? Nettles, plenty of nettles. A lot of the stuff I would get from other places, like at my granny's, or there's a paddock behind my in-laws that has an abundance of nettles that I like to help myself to sometimes. But I hope from next year to have a dedicated dye patch, where I'll grow more traditional dye stuff. Like, haven't exactly thought what or planned out, but probably stuff like woad and I don't know what else. When I plan it out, I'll get back to you. How did you come to live in your small town? What do you like about it? Well, I've lived here since I was 8 years old, so I didn't exactly come to live in it, if you know what I mean. Before that, I lived 10 miles away down the road. So I've kind of always been here in a way. What do I like about it? Well, for a long time I didn't really like the fact that it was so small, and that's why I had to move and get out and go to London and do something different. But after I finished university, I think I started to realise that it was quite good. And I really enjoy the way when you walk down the street, people say hello and ask you how you are. And not everyone does that, but it's quite common. Or someone in a car will stop to let you cross the road, or people kind of know you, and there's like a sense of belonging, I think. And yeah, those are some of the things I like about it. Jobs before dyeing, I kind of went through all that. Special edition yarns for this year planned. Yes, I do have some planned. I can reveal the next 2 to you. So the next one that is going to be released is a Dorset and alpaca from the Dorset's from Donegal, from a friend of a friend, and the alpaca is from a girl. She's I've just met her randomly, and she had alpacas. So I had some of the alpaca was from her. She's from County Tyrone, I think, and some of her local kind of alpaca friends. So that is a blend that is woolen spun from the mill in Wales, and that will be releasing as soon as the Cheviot runs out, which I think will be in the next update. And the next one after that will be a Dorset base, but I'd like to wait to tell you a bit more about it. It's going to be a super special, so it's 2 Dorset bases, but the second one, I really like them both. They're quite similar. They're actually spun at 2 different mills, but I want to tell you the story of the Dorset one specifically another time, because it's quite a lovely and long story, so stay tuned for that. Hobbies not craft related. I like going on walks. I like playing with the dog. I sometimes like playing Boggle. Hobbies not craft related. Gardening. Oh, I must have more hobbies than that. Is visiting people a hobby? Because if it is, then I do that a lot. Other hobbies, apart from crafts, I like redecorating. This whole house we're in was a whole project, and we redid the whole house, a full renovation. I don't know if I call that a hobby though, but I did enjoy it. Hobbies, I quite like baking. Don't like cooking so much, but I do like eating. Is eating a hobby? Oh, I love eating out. Absolutely love it. So if that counts, I would say that. I like going out to the cinema, Queen's Film Theatre. I particularly like. It has some it's a little indie cinema in Belfast. I really like that. Favourite colours over time. Well, when I was a child, my favourite colours were lime green and electric blue, and I'm coming back into my lime green phase, which is hilarious. But now my favourite colours are probably pastel-y, dusky, subtle kind of colours, and the odd mustard yellow thrown in for good measure. Always a fan of blues and greens. Basically, I like all the colours now that I'm dyeing them all. I just can't get enough of all of the colours. So that is all the questions. So thank you everyone who asked a question. And on a side note, I'm wearing 2 jumpers today because it's cold in here and we just turned off the heating. So if you wondered why I was wearing 2 jumpers, this is why. So thanks for tuning in, and I hope to be back next week. And don't forget, the shop update is tomorrow night at 8 p.m. GMT +1. That is Thursday the 30th of April. Thank you. So I also just want to add, I had quite a few questions come in after I recorded, so I am going to save up those questions and answer them next week. So I hope you enjoy that. So thanks for putting your questions in to me.